Tip 1. Understanding your audience is perhaps the most important step I'll discuss today. Think about this. What you say in an email is unimportant if the recipient doesn't understand it. These are a few different characters you'll run into in the in-house environment.
So what if we want to address different audiences? Let's say we're working with criminal law attorneys, or maybe civil litigation attorneys, for example. Or perhaps you're a judicial extern and you're working with judges. What are some of the tips that we want to pay attention to when we're addressing those audiences? Well, let's take a look.
Number 2 and 3 for writing an effective business email is to create an outline and put the conclusion or bottom line up front. These 2 points follow the acronym BASE. So let's now talk about organizing and writing an email. The organization is very different from IRAC that you learned in law school. The organization should be 1. B. Bottom line. 2. A. Ask. 3. C. Conclusions/recommendations. 4. E. Explanation. Your bottom line is the summary of your conclusion or recommendation. You'll note that unlike IRAC, where the conclusion is at the end, when writing a business email, it is highly important to write this first. Here are a few examples of a good bottom line. Your ask is merely a simple statement telling the reader what you want them to do upon reading the email. It's that easy, but you wouldn't want to believe how many people don't include it in their email, making the reader's job much more difficult, paging through a long email without knowing why he is copied on the email and what he's supposed to do with the information. Here are some examples of the ask. Your conclusion should summarize the conclusions and recommendations that you reached after your analysis. It should not merely be a retread of your bottom line, because it will generally have some more detail than the bottom line. For instance, here's a conclusion that goes along with the bottom line you saw earlier, namely, I have reviewed the proposed non-disclosure agreement and found 3 clauses that may be problematic. What is your explanation? Explanation is how did you arrive at your conclusions and recommendations? You should use headings, bullets, numbers, etc. to make it easy to read. I know you've probably been wondering this whole module, when do I get to talk about my analysis? This analysis goes at the end so that the reader of the email can review it only if he or she feels it's necessary. Here's an explanation statement to go along with the first issue that was summarized in the previous slide, i.e., the term of the agreement is indefinite. I recommend it be changed to a distinct number of years, somewhere between 3 to 7 years is standard. Tip number 4 for writing an effective business email is to use simple language. Always use simple words. No legalese like estoppel, res judicata, or other Latin words. All those fancy words that you learned first year in law school, don't use them in your business email. Use headings, bullets, and numbers. And unless the audience is a lawyer, such as an in-house counsel, no footnotes, don't cite to cases or codes, don't refer to courts or splits in jurisdiction or anything like that. Just say, the law is. As a business lawyer, you want to convey to the client that you're part of the problem-solving team. Here are 3 problem-solving and solution-oriented techniques to keep in mind.